These are the sneaker releases that you need to know about in December 2023. And it seems like a lot of these brands have saved their best stuff till the end of the year. This is Sit or Sell. Before we dive into things though, I want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Sole Premise. Sole Premise makes some of the best bags out there, and they're specifically designed to carry your sneakers. Whether you're looking for a duffel bag or a backpack or even some suitcases, Sole Premise has you covered. And of course, being Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend, they have a bunch of deals on their site. In fact, they have some things at 50% off, which is wild. So if you've been waiting to grab a Sole Premise bag, now is the time to do it by clicking that link at the top of the description below. If you happen to be watching this video after Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend, you can use my code Seth for 40% off your entire purchase. Seriously, I use Sole Premise bags all the time. For whenever I travel, I love to carry a lot of pairs of sneakers with me, as you guys could probably guess, and Sole Premise bags are the best way to do that. So again, make sure to check out Sole Premise through that link in the top of the description below, and with that being said, let's get right into Sit or Sell. First up, on December 1st, we've got the Nike Lebron 21 Abalone. So the design of this shoe is meant to replicate the exterior of an oyster shell. Apparently it has something to do with LeBron and fatherhood and his daughter and how he protects his daughter. The story was a little confusing. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really read the full thing. It's probably my fault, but either way, the idea behind this sneaker is an oyster shell, and I actually really like the way that it looks. Now, I have yet to try a pair of Nike Lebron 21, so I have no idea if it's a decent basketball sneaker or not. I would assume that it is because it's one of Nike's signature lines that they put the most money behind, so it's probably an excellent on-court performance shoe, but again, I've never tried it, so I don't know. That being said, if you like the way this sneaker looks and you like LeBron sneakers, this is probably a great shoe to grab. However, I don't think it'll be that difficult to get because it's a pair of LeBrons, and they don't really sell out anymore, so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. Also, dropping on December 1st, we've got the Apothecary Holiday Collection. If you're trying to get your festivities on, you can grab them on Apothecary's website, apthcry.com. Plus, we also have the Mystery Box Live, which is 10 pairs of socks for $100. It's a crazy deal. And we also have Cyber Monday deals. There's a lot going on Apothecary's website. Make sure to check it out. Link in the top of the description below. Plus, with the Mystery Boxes, you can win prizes like PlayStation 5s and Nike sneakers like the SB4s or the Lobster Dunks, and credit to Apothecary's website. There's a bunch of awesome stuff, and you get 10 pairs of socks for a great price if you want to give them out as gifts or just keep them for yourself. So, a lot of awesome stuff happening. Apothecary.com, linked in the description below. But now let's move on to December 2nd, and on December 2nd, we've got like 10 different pairs of sneakers releasing. The first drop is the Nike P6000 in the silver and white colorway. Nike is going all in on this 2000s running sneaker aesthetic. I mean, Asics does it, New Balance does it, why not Nike? Because of course, they also had running sneakers out in the early 2000s like every other brand, so they're going hard on that design language with the Nike P6000. And I gotta be honest, I really like the way that this sneaker looks. Apparently, the design of this shoe is inspired by different Pegasus models, and I believe we've seen different variations of this shoe released over the last couple years, but this time around we're getting the P6000 in this 2000s running sneaker vibe, and it looks very, very clean. Plus, it's got all the defining features of a 2000s running sneaker, like silver and a bunch of paneling and mesh. I mean, it has all of it. And it's also probably pretty comfortable. I think most running sneakers are. So this is a shoe that if I see it for retail, I might pick up. I'm not gonna go out of my way to grab it, but definitely a clean look. But when it comes to giving this shoe a rating between sit or sell, I'm leaning more towards the sit rating because I feel like shoes just aren't selling out the way that they used to. And this is not a collab or hyped up Jordan or anything like that. And while I do think it's gonna be a popular silhouette, I just don't think it's gonna move that quickly. And so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. Also dropping on December 2nd is the entire 2023 Doernbecher Children's Hospital Nike collaboration. And the first one of those releases is the Air Max 186 Doernbecher Freestyle Hailey. Obviously, this shoe is designed by one of the patients at the Doernbecher Children's Hospital, and it's inspired by her journey. The sneaker comes in a pink and white upper accented by heart details on the tongue and on the heel of the shoe, and of course, a gold Nike swoosh. And one of the details that I really love about this shoe is that it looks like the pink paneling on the upper of the shoe kind of spills over onto the midsole of this Air Max. I think it's very clean. You don't see a lot of that. I also love the fact that it comes with the Big Bubble. I think the Big Bubble Air Max 1s are much more comfortable than the standard Air Max 1s because of the foam and of course the bubbles, so all around a very clean look. And of course, because the shoe is a Doernbecher collaboration, I do think that there is a good chance that this shoe will end up selling out. Next up is the ACG Mountain Fly 2 Low Doernbecher Freestyle Garrett. Garrett used his shoe design to pay homage to the things that he loves, like hiking, and obviously living in the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of really great hiking trails. So not only does this shoe feature a hiking style design with mountains and trees and mud and things like that, it also comes on a hiking silhouette. And I'll be honest, I think Garrett absolutely nailed this design. I love it. I'm definitely gonna try and pick this shoe up, and obviously because the shoe is part of the Doernbecher Freestyle collection, I also think that this shoe will end up selling out. Next up, we've got the Nike D Kai Doernbecher Freestyle Macey. Macys Nike D Kai comes with a white leather upper accented by pink overlays covered in flowers. And then rounding off the midsole of the sneaker, you've got the words, "She believed she could, so she did." Macys Nike D Kai is a nice, clean, feminine look, and I do think that this shoe will probably end up selling out. One of the cleanest sneakers in the collection is Chris's Nike Go Flyease Doernbecher Freestyle. The shoe is inspired by Chris's love of Japan and features Japanese details throughout and of course Mount Fuji. And man, I absolutely love this aesthetic. I think it looks incredible, and this is, in my opinion, the best Nike Go Flyease colorway ever made. And I didn't see this the first time that I looked at the shoe, but there's actually a red Nike swoosh hidden behind some of the waves printed on the upper of the sneaker, and I think it's a very cool, subtle branding hit. And if you haven't tried the Go Flyease yet, you definitely should. It's a sneaker designed to make sneakers accessible for everyone, meaning you don't have to use your hands to actually get them on. You can literally just use your feet, pop them open, and then slide your foot in. It's incredible. You should definitely check them out if you haven't yet. And now they're accessible to everyone because Nike made a bunch of them. So if you're looking for a pair of these, now it's time to grab them, especially in this colorway. I think Chris absolutely knocked it out of the park, and I definitely think that this sneaker will end up selling out. Following that up is the Nike Cortez Doernbecher Freestyle Sydney. Sydney's Nike Cortez comes in a white leather upper accented by hand-drawn details, a green jewel swoosh, and removable patches. The bright green that Sydney used on this shoe absolutely pops, and it's definitely a one-of-a-kind Nike Cortez. And like I've said, for all the other Doernbecher shoes, I definitely think that this shoe will end up selling out. Then rounding off the Doernbecher collection, we've got the Air Jordan 3 Doernbecher Freestyle Hugo. So this is the first time in a while that we've gotten a Doernbecher Air Jordan 3, and obviously the aesthetics of this shoe are very different from the previous Doernbecher Air Jordan 3s. This time around, the sneaker comes in a dark navy upper, accented by bright neon green drip details. Now, according to the sneakers app, the colorway used on Hugo's sneaker are inspired by his favorite sports team, which I'm assuming is the Seattle Seahawks. I will say that while I'm not personally a huge fan of any team that uses this color, I think this aesthetic is very cool. It's kind of got that Nickelodeon slime look, which I think is awesome. It's very playful. But one of my favorite hits is actually on the bottom of the sneaker. You've got this semi-translucent green outsole, and underneath that, you've got the words, "It's okay to be different." As you could probably guess, because this shoe is a retro Jordan, it's going to be the most popular of the Doernbecher collection, but there's a lot of other good sneakers that are worth checking out if you haven't grabbed Doernbecher sneakers before. That being said, this Air Jordan 3 is very, very clean, and I can guarantee that it'll sell out. Also dropping on the second, we've got the Soulfly Air Jordan 8 Mi Casa Su Casa. See, I wasn't lying when I said there was a bunch of sneakers dropping on the second, and this isn't even the last one. This Soulfly Air Jordan 8 is releasing to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Air Jordan 8 silhouette. The Florida-based boutique Soulfly has been a long-time collaborator with Jordan Brand, so it makes sense that they're getting this 30th anniversary pair of the sneaker. And man, do the materials used on this sneaker look amazing. Around the mudguard of the shoe, you've got this really nice light tan suede. The midfoot of the sneaker features this really interesting like mesh or fabric detail that also comes in a cream color, and then the rest of the shoe is rounded off with deep red and navy hits. But my favorite detail on the shoe is actually none of the stuff that I've mentioned, and it is Soulfly's initials, SF, because they're my initials too. So there's SF embroidered onto, I guess, the tongue portion of the left side of the pair, and it looks like it's a Seth Fowler Air Jordan 8s. I know it's stupid, but I think it's awesome. So yeah, definitely trying to go for these. And I'm gonna tell everyone who doesn't like sneakers, oh yeah, these are my Seth Fowler Jordans. Do you not know that? And of course, because it's a collaboration retro Jordan, it will definitely sell out. And then finally finishing off the second, we've got the Travis Scott Nike Mac Attack. So this collaboration seems to be one of the most minimal collaboration efforts ever made on a Travis Scott collaboration. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying that he basically just turned the Nike swoosh around in the light smoke gray colorway and added Travis Scott hits on the back. And it's really odd to me that that's literally all that they did, at least from what I could tell. I'm sure the insole is different or something like that, but from the outside of the shoe, all you can see is a Cactus Jack hit on the heel and the backwards Nike swoosh. And maybe I'm just a hype beast, but I do think that this is a nice change on the Mac Attack. I do have a pair of Mac Attacks, I like them a lot, but this one is the one that I'd probably wear the most because it's a Travis Scott Mac Attack. For years I was denying the fact that I was a hype beast in my own head because I didn't want to admit it, but interestingly enough, the color of this Mac Attack is exactly the same as the standard light smoke gray color. You've got black hits and then a gray upper. It's basically the same exact thing. And if you like the Mac Attack and you like Travis Scott, this shoe is a collaboration made for you. I would have expected a Travis Scott collab to come in like a brown or a green or some color that he's already done before, but for whatever reason, he decided to not change colors at all and just go with the light smoke gray. And obviously, because this shoe is a Travis Scott collaboration and the Mac Attack in the light smoke gray colorway sold out on its own, this collaboration will sell out probably instantaneously is my guess. Moving on to November 5th, we've got the Nike Air Peny 2 in Atlantic Blue. This shoe comes in a primarily white makeup both on the midsole and on the bottom half of the upper. However, the top portion of the shoe around the laces comes with this Atlantic Blue, which is sort of like a medium blue. I mean, it's a very clean colorway. If you like the Nike Air Peny 2, you're gonna love this sneaker, but I just don't think it's anything different than just a new color on the Nike Air Peny 2. So if that's something you wanna grab, definitely grab it, but you shouldn't have too hard of a time because I personally think that this shoe will end up sitting on shelves. Dropping on December 9th is the Nike Nocta Glide in Slime Green. Wow, I think it's the first time we've had two slime-colored sneakers releasing in the same month, like not too far apart from each other. I think the first one is way better. This one, I don't know, not for me. Drake's recent collaborations with Nike have been polarizing, to say the least, and I think the Nike Nocta Glide is one of the more polarizing silhouettes. The silhouette itself looks like a basketball sneaker from the mid-2000s, and while that's not a bad aesthetic, it's not something that I think is that popular at the moment. I could be wrong, but it's not something I see a lot of people wearing. And then when you pair this pretty wild-looking silhouette with this bright neon green color, or I guess slime green color, it's a pretty wild looking sneaker. I'm sure there's people out there who will absolutely love this sneaker. I'm sure there's a lot of high fashion people who can rock this sneaker. I'm just not one of those people. And that doesn't mean it's a bad looking sneaker. I think Drake definitely does his thing with Nike, and no shade to Drake at all, he kills it. But this one, not for me. That's a no from me, dog. So I say all that to say this. I don't think the shoe is going to sell out. A lot of Drake shoes in the past haven't sold out just because the colorway or the silhouette haven't been as wearable as some of his previous releases, some of his Jordan brand releases, and I definitely think this is the most out there of the shoes he's dropped recently. So for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sit. Also dropping on the 9th are the Undermycar Atmos Asics Gel Kakaon 12s. So there are two colorways of this double collaboration dropping. You've got a black and silver colorway and a brown and cream colorway. And I don't know if you guys caught my Asics top 10 video. I'm assuming you didn't because the views are so low on that video. I really love Asics, and I think the Asics Gel Kakaon 12 is a very solid silhouette. So I'm definitely not surprised to see a collaboration taking place on that shoe. Obviously, this release is a double collaboration, which means that there are two brands collaborating on the same sneaker, or I guess in this case, three brands, because it's Asics, Atmos, and Undermycar. Undermycar is a South Korean imprint. Atmos is of course a Japanese footwear retailer who unfortunately is leaving the United States, which sucks because one of the Atmos locations is in Philadelphia where I live. And then of course the brand that's making the shoe that these collabs are taking place on is Asics. So I guess really it's a triple collaboration is what I should have said. Either way, no matter what colorway you're looking for, it's a very clean collaboration and definitely a pair that I would love to pick up. But knowing Asics collaborations right now, it's kind of like how New Balance was about 2 years ago. Everything is selling out, so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. In both colorways, the brown and cream and the black and silver. Then finishing off December 9th, we've got one of the most anticipated sneaker releases of the year, and that's the Air Jordan 11 Gratitude. So this shoe is heavily inspired by the DMP 11s, and obviously we had part of the DMP pack re-released back in 2020 with the DMP 6s, but now it looks like we're getting a slightly different version of the DMP 11s with the Gratitude 11s. In fact, even though this shoe looks just like the DMP 11s, apparently it has nothing to do with the DMP 11s, and instead is supposed to be a thank you note from Michael Jordan to everyone who supported him over the last couple years, which is fine. But it looks like a pair of DMP 11s. I'll be honest though, I don't really care what the story is behind this sneaker. I think it looks amazing. You can never get enough Concord 11s, and it's definitely a shoe that I would like to pick up. Now, I did actually already have a pair a couple months ago when I first did the review on the sneaker, which by the way, if you guys want to check that out, there will be a link at the top of the screen. But I ended up giving that pair away on Whatnot, so I no longer have it, so I would like to have a pair for the personal, which shouldn't be too hard because apparently they're making like 1 million pairs of these shoes. But even with that, I still think it's going to be an incredibly popular release. We've seen with all of the other recent Air Jordan 11 releases where they've apparently made millions of pairs, they've all sold out. So I think that will be the case with this release, and so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Now, before we get into the next release on this list, I did want to talk about an upcoming release that has no set release date. In fact, we don't even know which shoes are officially releasing. And the sneakers in question are the Jerry Lorenzo Adidas Fear of God collection. So the actual number of sneakers releasing and even the names of these sneakers are not yet made official, so we're not even sure exactly what's happening, but we do know, because Jerry Lorenzo said so on Instagram, that the Fear of God Athletics Adidas collaboration is dropping in the next 2 weeks or so, at least from the time that I'm filming this video, which I'm guessing is going to be around December 10th. Now obviously this collaboration is heavily anticipated and there will be a lot of sneakers dropping. It looks like we've got the Fear of God Athletics basketball sneaker, which I'm most excited for. There's actually apparently two versions of this basketball sneaker. There's one with the 3 stripes on the toe that actually kind of reminds me of a pair of Yeezy 750s. You've also got the other basketball sneaker, which looks a little bit more modern. Interestingly enough, they both look like Nike Air Fear of God ones, which would make sense because they're also designed by Jerry Lorenzo, but still, definitely a similar vibe. In addition to that, you've also got some retro-inspired sneakers like the Fear of God Rivalry Low 86s, apparently in 3 different colorways, plus a retro running sneaker of some kind, which doesn't have a name yet, at least not that I'm aware of. So there's honestly a lot to look forward to. I don't know what I'm most excited about. It's probably one of the basketball silhouettes that we've never seen before, but either way, apparently something's dropping soon. We just don't know what or exactly when, but stay tuned because one of these shoes is dropping in December. We just don't know which one or how much or when. I probably will make a video on the release of these shoes, or at least try and review some of these sneakers when they drop, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. And I guess because this is a sit or sell video, I should give them some sort of sit or sell rating, so I'm gonna give them all a sell because I think that when these do first release, they will sell out very quickly. Moving on to December 14th, we've got 3 different colorways of the Nike SB Dunk Low Powerpuff Girls. So I had no idea how hyped up this collaboration was going to be. In fact, I didn't think it was going to be that crazy, but I'll be honest, I never watched Powerpuff Girls growing up. I also didn't have cable, so that's probably why. Also, I guess I just wasn't into it, but it seems like there's a lot of people out there who are nostalgic for this sneaker and nostalgic for that cartoon, so they're really interested in these shoes. So the 3 colorways of this collaboration that are releasing are the Bubbles colorway, the Buttercup colorway, and the Blossom colorway. So obviously the 3 colorways come in the 3 colors of the Powerpuff Girls, and they all feature the oversized cartoon eyes on the heel in place of the Nike logo. From what I can tell, each one of these colorways feature different materials used on the upper of the shoe. So the Bubbles colorway, which comes in blue, features what seems to be some sort of like fabric, and of course this shoe is accented by a bright yellow Nike swoosh. The Buttercup colorway comes in bright green and features either a satin upper or some sort of like glossy synthetic leather. I'm not sure exactly which one it is. And then the Blossom colorway comes in pink suede accented by an orange Nike swoosh. Actually, now that I'm looking at all these sneakers close up, it looks like they put a little embroidered mouth on the back of each one of these sneakers, which actually makes the heel of each one of these pairs look like a face, which I think is really great. That's such a cool detail. It makes more sense why there's so much hype behind these now. I get it. It's pretty cool. Each one of these shoes also features the word Powerpuff embroidered into the tongue, and then of course you've got the name of each one of these characters embroidered onto the tongue label itself. I'll be honest, even a couple minutes ago I wasn't that excited about this collaboration, and while I'm still not going to run out and spend $1,000 on these shoes, I definitely think it's a much more well-rounded and more well thought out collaboration than I ever expected. I'm really interested to see which colorway ends up being the most popular of these 3 colorways. I have no idea which character is the most popular out of the 3, but I definitely think these are 3 very clean and very wearable colorways, especially that blue one, so maybe that'll be the most popular. I'm not totally sure, but excited to see these shoes in hand whenever I get a chance. And as you could probably guess, just from the hype building around this release, I think all 3 of these colorways will sell out immediately. Moving on to December 15th, we've got the Nike Kobe 6 Protro Reverse Grinch. The Nike Kobe 6 Grinch is one of the most iconic Kobe sneakers of all time, and the last time we had a release of that shoe was back in 2020. This wasn't even on purpose, but I got my pair right back there on the set just because it matches with this whole Christmassy vibe. But one of my favorite sneakers that Nike's ever released, I think the Kobe 6 Grinches are just like one of the most iconic sneakers Nike's ever released, certainly most iconic basketball sneakers Nike's dropped. And it seems like in 2023, Nike is switching things up a little bit by reversing the colors used on the upper of the shoe. So rather than the shoe coming in green with red accents, the sneaker comes in almost entirely red with green accents. And maybe it's just because I'm so used to seeing the Kobe 6 Grinches that when I first saw the shoe, I wasn't a huge fan because I didn't like the red as much as the green, but I'm starting to warm up to it a lot, and I actually have a pair coming in, which you guys should definitely subscribe if you haven't yet, because I'm dropping a review in the very near future. I'm also giving away a pair on Whatnot, so if you guys want to check out that upcoming Whatnot live stream, make sure to click the link in the description below, underneath the Soul Premise link and the Apothecary link. I'm promoting a lot in today's video. It's because it's December. There's a lot going on. As you can see, this shoe features the same 3D snakeskin texture on the upper of the shoe that you have on every other Kobe 6. This one is a Protro version of the shoe, which means that it features updated tech to make this a better on-court performer. And even though the main color of the shoe is bright red and the accent colors are bright green, it is nice to have a hit of black on the Nike swoosh. And I think for a lot of people, the Kobe 6 is their favorite silhouette, so it's definitely a highly anticipated shoe, and so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Coming in on December 16th, we've got the Air Jordan 2 Low Italy. So if you didn't know, the original Air Jordan 2 was manufactured in Italy and not in China, and that's why the retail price of that shoe is so much higher. And while yes, over the years the manufacturing has moved from Italy to China on the Air Jordan 2 just to make the sneaker cheaper overall, it looks like this colorway of the shoe is probably not manufactured in Italy, but inspired by the Italian Air Jordan 2s, which is kind of ironic, right? Like this shoe is manufactured in China, but it's inspired by Italy, and rather than just making it in Italy like they used to and just releasing it for a slightly higher price point, they're just saying that it's inspired by Italy and using some Italian colors on the shoe. So, I don't know, kind of a weird inspiration there. Maybe not a weird inspiration, but a weird implementation of an inspiration. I don't know. It's also called the Christmas colorway, so maybe that's what they're going for too. This Air Jordan 2 Low comes in a black leather upper accented by dark green and red hits, and is a shoe that I think will be relatively well received, but probably not that popular, and so because of that, I'm giving this shoe a sit. Also dropping on the 16th, we've got the Air Jordan 3 White Navy. So I originally thought this shoe was supposed to release in January, but apparently it's releasing in December now. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the release gets pushed to January. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with this release, but I'm excited for it nonetheless. This shoe comes in a white tumbled leather upper accented by a gray elephant print and a navy blue hit on the midsole, and actually looks a lot like the Wizards Air Jordan 3s, which is interesting that they're releasing this shoe so close to that release. Even still though, I love this sneaker, and it's definitely a pair that I would like to pick up if I can find a pair for retail, which honestly shouldn't be too hard because even though the Air Jordan 3 is a very popular silhouette, I don't know if the resale is going to be crazy on this shoe. But I still think the sneaker is going to sell out whether it releases in December or January, so for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. Next up, on December 20th, we've got the Air Jordan 14 black and white. Based on images, it looks like the entire upper of this shoe is covered in black suede. In fact, a very hairy black suede, which I think looks great. Hairier than a standard pair of 14s. Maybe it's not suede, maybe it's more like a velvet. I don't really know. Until we see the shoe in hand, I have no idea. The look is rounded off by bright white hits on the midsole of the sneaker and of course a black outsole, and overall, it is a pretty clean pair of Air Jordan 14s. It's not an OG colorway, but it's definitely very wearable. When it comes to the Air Jordan 14 silhouette, even though it's a clean looking sneaker, it's not one of the most popular retro Jordans, so unless the shoe is releasing in an OG colorway, I think the shoe is probably going to end up sitting. Releasing the day after Christmas on December 26th, we've got the Nike Kobe 4 Protro Black Mamba. I'm not sure if this is the last sneaker releasing in 2023, but at least at the time of recording this video in November, I think it might be. And if this is the last sneaker dropping, at least from Nike, it's a fire way to end the year. This Kobe 4 is completely blacked out except for the gold signature on the heel of the sneaker. You've got black leather on the toe and on the midfoot panel of the shoe, and then this really interesting 3D snakeskin texture on the mudguard and on the heel. Now, of course, because this is a Protro version of the shoe, this Kobe 4 has been updated with newer tech to make it a better on-court performer, and honestly, if I'm ever playing basketball and someone steps onto the court in these, I might have to quit for the day because they're definitely going to be way better than me, or at least look like they'll play way better than me, which most people can, so I mean, most likely they're better than me. The Kobe 4 Protro Black Mamba is an incredibly clean sneaker and a great way to end off the year, and I definitely think that this sneaker will sell out immediately. But hey, that pretty much wraps up the video for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.